February 6, 2026. This is the S&P 500 E-Futures Mini on 2000 tick chart using NinjaTrader 8. This is what the chart looked like today. The only economic data that came out was around 7 o'clock Pacific Standard, which is about right here, which is the consumer sentiment. And then other than that, there was no other news that came out. Overall, the price structure looked like it was a spike and in a shallow channel, which is going up this transparent red up channel, but it never really was useful as key entry point, and I didn't really have it fully trusted till much later. But even then, it just kind of gives you the idea that prices are slowly moving up, which you can already tell in real time. So it actually didn't really help all that much. There was a kind of like yesterday, there was a few more almost trades or trades that I skipped over, and then there was I think maybe like 2 to 3 setups, and I did take one of those setups. So in the pre-market, kind of whipsaw and choppy. I did see this setup in the pre-market, not during pre-market, not in real time, but just something I looked back after the market opened. I was looking back at the charts. It does look like there was a second entry long here. It's a break of this orange up channel. It's one attempt, and then this is the second attempt. So if this had actually formed during regular trading hours, this is a trade I think I would have taken because it's a strong engulfing bar. It looks like it was 2 legs down. If you did draw this channel coming down, it does look like it's a break and test the low with an EMA bounce, strong signal bar. So I think this would have been a worthwhile trade to take. Then it starts pushing up. I kind of established this yellow up channel off of this 1, 2 swings. This one slightly got moved. It should be a little bit tighter. Almost has a touch here, and then it has some confirmations up here, but this is the pre-market, which I don't trade. It starts moving sideways, moves sideways into the open. So it creates a new low. It's a first entry short pullback, second entry short. There's a second entry short here. Multiple tests off the top of this range, but it's a little early in the day. This is only after the first minute going on 2 minutes. If you look at the timestamp up here, it's already at 6:30, well, almost 6:32. And I'm a little more cautious during the pre-market, not pre-market, but the early trading. And this is already in a kind of a tight range. There is a possibility it's going to push back down to the low. Break of this orange technically has tested the high right here by 1 tick, but it just felt a little too, I guess, rushed. Then prices move up, creates a localized high. It's a first entry long pullback, creates a second entry long, which I called an almost trade. It is 2 legs, one attempt down, pullback, second attempt. It's bouncing off this possible range support, but in real time, I thought this is mainly just 1 touch, 2 touch. If you were counting it more, I guess, very technical, you could say it's 1 touch, 2 touch, 3 touch, or just 1 touch because it's a green bar, maybe a second, a third, but I couldn't justify that for myself. So I left it as an almost trade. It's a good signal bar, but also one thing taking away from it is this is an inside bar to this, although it's a nice reversal bar. If it had come back down and touched the EMA, that gave me another reason to try to take it long, or at least it gave me another clear, decisive triple test. So left that one alone. Pushes up on this yellow up channel, creates a localized high, and also high of day, which is blue dotted line. It's a first entry long pullback, second entry long. I actually thought this is a possible trade. So I was thinking this could be in play, but it came out, potential failed breakout, came back, touch bounced off the high of this range. Also, this yellow up channel has broken, made one attempt up, needs to test the high. This could be the second attempt, coupled with the fact that this green down channel has broken and tested the low with an EMA bounce. So I actually thought this might have been a possible trade with the combination of the break of this green shortened trend channel. The signal bar is pretty decent. It is doji though, so it's a little bit, had to be a little more cautious. Presses to the highs, sells off again. Looks like it was trying to enter this range, but this, if you look at the linear prints of these candles, it's pretty much the same size of what has been happening inside this range. So that makes me believe, since this has dwelled for so long outside of this range, to think that this range is still intact, established by these early touches, is a lot less likely. So it pushes up on this green up channel. There's a break on the high side, and it starts looking like it's moving sideways because I found this high side, and then later I found this low side, but it looked like there was a new low, first entry short pullback, second entry short failure. Unfortunately, I couldn't couldn't mark it as a triple test either. It's more likely a double test. This is a triple test up here. And this one, unlike this one, has broken below the EMA, broken and closed. So there could be a fail breakout here and push back up, but I just wasn't thinking it's a very high probability trade. So I call it an almost trade. Pushes up, break this purple up channel, test the high, and then it starts reversing back down. Then it moves into the sideways. So technically has broken the green, tested the low, and instead of continuing back down or reversing back up, because at this point I'm thinking if the EMA is going to be coming into play, it starts moving sideways. There's no trade here. Pushes down. I wasn't too comfortable with this orange down channel because it does touch nicely on the high side, but I also left open the door that even though it touched nicely on the high side, could this actually be kind of a second trend coming down? So it's actually something like this is more valid. So that would negate or at least make me extra cautious because if you're trading something like this, I'm not necessarily ready to take a short because if you see this, you're thinking, okay, it's going to come back down to the low side of this orange. But if this channel isn't valid and the channel is actually something tighter, then any short setups I'd be cautious of because now the support side is a lot closer than when it was before. The break pushes back down, reverses up, new low, first inch short, pull back. You have a second inch short way up here, but this didn't really have any other resistance to help give it a key entry point. So I'm looking for a lower high. You get a lower high here, but I just didn't like the recovery. If this had closed at the low, then I'd consider it. Wouldn't be too worried about the EMA because EMA isn't super reliable in this region right now. So I would consider taking a short here, but since it pulled back at the very end and closed, not at the lows, but quite a bit of distance, relatively speaking, from the low, I'm a little more cautious. You can also see it as a visual first entry long pullback, second entry long. There's no setup here. Break of this orange down channel tests the low and it starts reversing back up. Break of this green up channel tests the high. No really clean second entries here. Pushes up to the high again, pushes back down. So at this time, in real time, I'm thinking I'm in a range. There's a potential fail breakout here, corresponding fail breakout here. I'm looking for prices to come all the way back down here. You can disregard this red one because it actually doesn't really come into play. And then I kind of found it later in the day, but by then it doesn't really help for trading or looking for setups. So I'm looking for this to come back down and it reverses back up, gives this gigantic candle, which makes me extra cautious when I see something like this, because this had a huge drop here, relatively speaking. This is like a 9.5 point candle, and this is a 9, so it's like a 36 point candle, and this is a 38 point candle. So this is just crazy whipsaw. And look at the timestamp, they're happening in quick succession. So something happened, and then the market quickly decided it wanted to reverse this. Pushes up. I'm wondering if the top side of this range is going to hold. Then it starts hitting these pretty much piano keys. It's creating piano keys. You got both red and green candles, pretty much the same size, hitting side by side. So I'm just seeing congestion here. No clear idea which way it's going to go. It's a good way to get chopped up. So it's just moving and it pushes out to the high side. Excuse me. Then it continues, creates another range. It's just kind of chopping sideways. Continues, pushes and tests the high of day. It starts moving up. I'm thinking, is it in this red up channel? I never colored it in because it kind of run into the same problem that I had with this guy, where I originally thought this channel maybe is something big, but I didn't like how there's so much space down here. And I'm seeing the same thing. Could this actually be a tighter channel, something like this? So not knowing for sure, I kind of left it alone, waiting for some other price action to print to get it cleared up and then kind of stay away from this. Prices move down this orange down channel break, tests the low, continues going to the low, bounces here, which may have been the midline of this range, but I'm not so sure this range is all that valid if prices are really going to respect this high side and this low side anymore. Pushes up. It creates a failed second entry short, lowest low, or not lowest low, localized low. First entry short pullback, second entry short. Second entry short has failed here, but it doesn't have a very convincing close to high. Plus, I feel like I'm in a congested potential range right now. This red up channel technically has tested the high. It could make a second attempt, but this follow through isn't very convincing. Of course, you don't know this big candle is going to show up and keep moving up. So then I established this green up channel. It breaks, makes one attempt up. This is potentially the second attempt up, so it clearly has made a test of this green up channel. This green up channel kind of ran into the same issue that I had here. Doesn't quite fit as nicely. These bigger channels, you have to be a little bit more careful because if you had more price action, more confirmations, then you could trust it. But if you starts getting too wide, it doesn't really add too much value, and it could lead you astray. It's the high side. Technically, a first entry long, you kind of have a second entry, but this is inside to this, so I'm not the biggest fan of this. Which is the high side, comes back down. I'm thinking, is this a range? The range I had was established. Let me move it out a little bit. I actually had it down a little bit lower, and I treated this as a fail breakout and a potential fail breakout here, but there's no setup here. So it hits the localized low. It's a first entry short, and then I did have a secondary horizontal line up here. First entry short pullback, second entry short. This actually sets up for my one and only trade. It's a little more aggressive though. I looked to the left and I said, okay, prices are clear in a spike in a channel. And keep in mind, I did have this thing established early on, which I have since deleted. And I said, okay, there's some kind of channel it's following. Unfortunately, it's not way down here. This yellow up channel doesn't exist yet. It shows up later, but I was thinking I'm in a range. And I was thinking there's a fail breakout on this side. Well, originally there was a fail breakout on this side and a potential corresponding fail breakout on this side. Now it's pushing up, break. This could be trying to push up to the high side because this green up channel needs to test the high side. So I actually entered. It's a little aggressive. Keep in mind, I had a second horizontal line here. I was thinking there's a strong potential to push back to the high side. So I entered one pretty much at the high of the tick, and I was aggressive because I also entered and went for 6 ticks instead of 4. Because if we went for four ticks or just 1 point, you would have been out from here for sure. But I went ahead and pressed it, and I got my 6 ticks. No runner though, because I didn't think it was actually going to run necessarily because I am pressing right into the high of day. Granted, this one was a little bit more aggressive, so it pushes up. This is when I established the yellow up channel because I established it first on the high side because the high side resistance looks good. Dragged it down and established the low side. Low side, I don't trust as much, but it's at least something to work with. It starts moving horizontal again, so it's just a trading range. Localized high, first entry long pullback, second entry long, not the best signal bar. Looking for a higher low to feel more confident. Get a higher low here by the time this confirms, but now you're just kind of in the middle of the range. It creates a second entry short triple test, 1 touch, 2 touch, 3 touch. New low, first entry short, second entry short. It's a really great signal bar. The thing that was holding me back is EMA is starting to show a bullish bias. Going short on a clearly bullish day felt really dicey. So, and on top of that, this range is pretty tight. So even if you're going for a 1 point scalp, you are concerned that you might not, you're gonna have enough room for a 1 point scalp, but you don't know if it's going to bounce earlier because it bounced earlier here. So that kind of all played into my decision like, okay, there's no short here, just too risky. Wait for easier setup. Bounces, creates a first entry short pullback. You have a second entry short failure. I was thinking this range might be in play. And this could be a fail breakout. Prices are clearly moving back in. It's a really strong signal bar. There's enough room for a 1 point scalp, but maybe, I mean, you technically have a 2 point scalp potential, but it feels dicey. So I thought there might have been a potential for a 1 point scalp, but I kind of left it alone. Would have worked. Pushes the high side. It's following inside this yellow up channel pretty nicely. You technically have first entry long. You have a second entry long here, but this is your signal bar. It broke below and closed up. Unfortunately, it closed the high, so I didn't really like that. Pushes to the high side, confirming this yellow up channel pretty well. There's a small break, but you could still argue that it's didn't really have a break. Pushing down, I'm expecting a bounce off of here. Break of this red. I'm expecting a second move down to try to touch this before reversing and continuing. But it doesn't do that. It kind of comes back up, tests the high side. So it's a really strong bullish move. Breaks to the outside. They have first entry long. Almost a double top. You technically have a second entry long here, but it felt a little dicey. Okay, so it's continuing moving sideways. You do have a potential support area here because before I established this range, I actually had it slightly higher up here. So I saw first entry long pullback, second entry long is a bad signal bar. I just wanted a green one. Kind of bouncing, comes back down. As a failed breakout here, I'm wondering if it's going to make it up to the high side. It does make it to the high side, so I'm wondering if these two breaks are actually true. That's when I established the low of the range somewhere closer to here. I think I had a little bit higher here. New low, first entry short, second entry short. I'm not ready to go short on this potential leg up because it could be in this green up channel. Pushes down. Technically, you have a new high, first entry long pullback. You have a second entry long confirmed here. It's also a new low, first entry short, second entry short. It almost touched the low side. I call this an almost trade just because this isn't a good signal bar. When I see this, I'm not necessarily ready to take a trade yet. I'm waiting for the next candle, ideally to touch this yellow up channel support and then close bullish to give me a good setup. But it doesn't do that, it just kind of reverses. So there's an almost trade. Bounces to the high side. It looks like it's in this range, and it's pretty much moving sideways. Pushes up. The fail breakout of this blue trading range. I'm expecting prices to come back down. Then I'm going to wonder if there's going to be some kind of reaction to this yellow up channel support, or if it's going to come back down to this blue range support. It's kind of created two dojis in the same leg, so I'm a little more cautious. Starts reversing up. It doesn't hit this yellow up channel, and I established this secondary super, I guess, internal purple up channel. Gives you kind of a higher low, but it's the wrong signal bar color. Looks like it's bouncing, moving up this red up channel pretty nicely. It's a new high, first entry long pullback, second entry long, cutting through the EMA. I'm not the biggest fan of that. Pushes up, breaks to the high side, and it confirms the yellow up channel resistance. But this yellow up channel resistance, I'm more cautious because there was a break here. I was thinking at one time to have it up here to eliminate this overshoot, but now it doesn't touch the high side as well. So I kept it down here, dealt with the fact that there was an overshoot here and here. So now I'm just kind of watching and waiting, being extra cautious. Pushes the high side. I'm just going to speed it up because it pushes into the close on pretty much the last 10 minutes. So the one and only trade that I took was a little more aggressive. A better trade probably was back here, the second entry long. But other than that, there's also a few almost trades that I skipped over, as I explained, for one reason or another. Maybe the signal bar wasn't quite right, or I felt extra cautious of looking for confirmation. And I kind of felt that's kind of how the week's been going. Now, for the last 3 weeks, it was pretty slow. Prices were it was really hard to find trades, and things were just dragging. Then the last week, I would say, things have been really volatile. So volatile that even though a lot of candles have been printing, they don't necessarily translate to a lot of trades because it just got whipsawed. So hopefully tomorrow, I don't know why that is, but I'm looking forward to at least next week, maybe things settling down. A lot of the earnings from the big tech companies and a lot of other things that might move the market have reported. So I think there's a few more companies coming out with earnings, but I don't know that necessarily they're going to move the market as violently. So hopefully things kind of move back into, for me, easier trading. So hopefully that was helpful.